Alright, what's good, guys? 11:35. Jumping into the next one, and this one's gonna be about why I chose sales over everything. And if you guys are familiar, if you guys have ever seen me before, what's up? I'm Trey, 20 years old, just turned 20. I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur. I work in tech sales, I work remotely, I run a copywriting side business, and then I'm also a trader. So I'm a pretty busy guy. But and I kind of wanted to go over why I chose sales over everything else. And sales is one of those transferable skills, and I feel like that if you know sales, you can go basically anywhere. Like you don't have to worry about not having a job as long as you know the skill of sales. And the skill of sales can go to any type of job. Like if you want to be a marketing, you have to learn sales at some point. If you want to be in business, sales is a really big portion of business. If you want to go into door to door is sales. Like everything that you do is going to be a portion of sales, and sales is, in my definition, using words to drive action, and that's my definition of sales. And that could be anything. Like, one thing I want to talk about today was like resumes, right? And how you can get into a sales role if you aren't already in one, and how you can tailor your resume to these companies and actually get into a sales position and actually start learning. And yeah, let's honestly get really deep into it. Sales is one of those things where you can really realistically take that anywhere. Like you work at a retail company where like Home Depot, and you work in a sales position, you want to say, hey, I really want to get into like a really bigger position that can make me more money. You can go to take that sales skill of talking to people, driving action with words, and just overall understanding human psychology to a tech sales role where you work remote, you have a bigger base salary, you make actual more commissions in X, Y, and Z. Or you can say, oh, I want to take it to high ticket where it's a little bit more about understanding people's psychology, but you have that previous experience of talking to people. Now you can take that to a whole different role. And that's what I mean by sales, right? Like sales is so transferable to where there's no way that you don't have a job, and there's no way that you can't make a business out of sales because of the fact you make yourself valuable. And that's also one thing I want to touch on is that sales is a valuable skill. People don't want to cold call every single day. People don't really want to hop on these calls and close these people. Like it's such a skill that is easy to learn over 1 to 3 years that people don't want to take the time to actually perfect. And that's another thing why I transferred from marketing or to sales to marketing to back to sales full time, because I just got tired of running a business. Like there's so many things that go into running a business of like operations, then your marketing, then your sales that complements the marketing, and the marketing that complements the sales, and then you also have the client acquisition, and then you also have back end softwares, potentially employees if you're like at a certain revenue amount. Like there's so many things that go into sales to where it's not even like an idea or so many things that go into a business when I was good in sales, but I still wanted to make a business. Rather than taking a couple extra years to just kind of build up that sales skill, make $1 million in revenue, and then start to delegate that. And I delegated too early, and I didn't have it correct SOPs. I didn't have all the objections. I didn't have an objection handbook. Like I didn't have any of that, and I feel like that really stumped my process moving forward after that. Um, but I choose sales over everything because it's the baseline. It's a foundation. Like if you know sales, you can basically do anything. If you know sales and you eventually want to start marketing your sales services to people, you can start doing that. LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. You can start marketing that because you have the skill of sales. You have the skill that is valuable that people want to learn. You can turn that into an info business. You can make an extra 10, 15, $20,000 a month just by teaching people sales, right? And getting them into tech sales roles, high ticket roles, and building out your network, right? And like different roles. And that's one of the biggest things. It's just like it's so transferable. Like, it's such a skill that you will have forever, and it requires basically nothing to start. It requires a tailored resume, the will to learn, and a good company with training, and that's it. That's all you need, right? And you can make a 10-15 million dollar business off of just sales alone. Like, there's just one YouTuber or content creator that you guys may know. His name is Sam Zia. I hope I'm saying his name right. He started in sales, doing door to door, made like $8,000, moved back to the U.S., started knocking on doors for a detail company, I believe, and then started making $20,000-$30,000 a month just from sales itself, making $300,000 a year off of just knocking on people's doors and knowing exactly what to say. And you can do that in not only just a detailing business, but a lawn care business. You can take it so many different ways once you understand what sales is and what it entails and how you can leverage it to make money. Is the biggest thing of why I went back. Of I was closing deals and managing a pipeline, and I felt a lot more happier. I felt a lot more fulfilled off of doing that rather than running the business itself, right? And in my company, like, I don't really do anything. All I do is book meetings and make sure they hold and manage a pipeline. And not saying like it's easy, but cold call, cold email, like those things build skill. And I felt like I skipped that portion to where I did it for like 2 years, like a year or two, and that was in a whole different industry, whole different time in my life, and I didn't really prioritize that, and I jumped into making a business. Whenever I could have just stayed with it for another 3 to 5 years, because that's really the sweet spot with sales. Whenever you actually start to kind of understand it in a way that you can potentially teach, and in a way that you can apply that same principles to a business. And with that being said, that's why I really chose sales over everything. And honestly, if you're looking for a sales role, like, I'm going to be making a video of how to actually find sales roles today. And it's going to be covering how to tailor your resume. It's going to be over how to find these jobs. It's going to be going over how to use LinkedIn to find these jobs. And just honestly things like that, because you do need a certain baseline to get into things like tech, and then you do need a certain baseline to get into things like high ticket. And I'm not saying that you can't get in with no experience, but it is going to be a lot harder and a bigger learning curve before you're successful, and you will have to grind around 12 to 15 hours, and I already did my 12 to 15 hours a day for 2 years, so I don't need to do that shit. But yeah, I really want to keep this video pretty short, and then I'm going to be getting into the next few videos, and hopefully get to see y'all there. If you guys made it to the last part of this video, comment sales in the comments, and hopefully get to speak with you guys soon.